Okay, good evening and good morning and good afternoon to everyone here joining us at the Zoom today. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Rui Ephraim. Today I'm hosting our session on empowering SMEs in Pakistan with our fellow guests, Jarrar, Septain, and Mustafa. Without further ado, I do want to say first, Ramadan Kareem to our friends that do celebrate. And thank you so much for making the time to join us in this webinar in partnership with Paklaunch.com, as well as Orbit Startups. So quickly to, I guess, introduce to the various parties here, I do want to give a quick shout to Orbit Startups, my home firm. I'm a senior associate there where I focus on investments in South Asia. For those who don't know, Orbit Startups is a branch of SOSV. SOSV is a global US fund that invests in early stage startups globally. We primarily invest in three main verticals: hardware, life sciences, and software. And Orbit Startups primarily focuses on software and internet. We've had the opportunity to deploy our capital over the last 10 plus years, focusing primarily in emerging markets, starting off in China, working our way down towards Southeast Asia, South Asia, and these days focusing quite a bit as well in MENA, Sub-Saharan South Africa, as well as Latin America. With regards to Pakistan, a lot of folks have known the SOSV brand name, as well as Orbit Startups, because of our recent activity in the region. We currently have about 17 portfolio companies, maybe 18 soon in the country, and we're quite bullish on what's happening in the market there, and quite excited to showcase what we've been able to do in that market as well. So in short, as I mentioned, we do focus on software internet with an angle towards consumer internet as well. What makes Orbit Startups unique is our focus on being able to have our companies have free user acquisition. How does that work, you might ask? Well, our portfolio of companies across all our regions have over a total of 180 million MAUs. And what we're working on with our portfolio companies as they continue to scale in their markets as well as go cross-border is to enable free promotion in exchange for revenue share. More details on that can definitely be shared once at the end of this webinar. Or also more details can also be followed at our website at www.orbitstartups.com. So now, without further ado, in addition to the free user acquisition that I mentioned earlier as well, one of the things that our startups do love and hate is also our innate ability to have them always pitch themselves. So I do have today 3 startups from the Orbit portfolio companies, and I do want to give them a chance to introduce themselves. But the way we do it is through the Orbit Startups pitch. So therefore, I'll give who I see first here on my Zoom, our good friend Septain from Smart Benefits. Give us your quick little 30-second pitch.
Sure. Thanks, Roy. Hi, everyone. This is Septain, founder of Smart Benefits. So Smart Benefits is a modern employee benefits platform designed to meet the health, wealth, and wellness needs of today's workforce. With a user-friendly interface, employers can easily manage their employee benefits and streamline their HR processes. Our mission is to empower employers to attract and retain top talent by offering comprehensive benefits package that also help employees thrive both personally and professionally. And we help companies from all sizes, from 5 employees to thousands of employees. Yeah, that's about it for about ourselves. Thank you, Roy.
Awesome. Thank you, Septain. And next, I would like to invite Mr. Jarrar Shah. Give us a quick little 1-2 on 24/7.
Yeah, thanks, Roy. So 24/7. Hi, guys. I'm Jarrar. I'm the co-founder CEO of 24/7. 24/7 is a community commerce platform where we're aggregating and digitizing the corner shops, the kiryanas, under our own brand name to distribute FMCG, fresh produce, digital financial services across communities in Pakistan. We're currently in 6 cities. We have over 4,000 shops in our network. And yeah, basically it's been, it's been a hell of a ride, and we're just getting started. So pleasure to be here.
Lovely, lovely. And last, we have Mustafa from Easy Fresh, who had just gone through the fundraising module. so he knows what's up.
Thanks, Roy. And hey, everyone. I'm Mustafa. I'm the co-founder of Easy Fresh. So millions of smallholder farmers in Pakistan are ripped off their earnings by commission-seeking middlemen. Even then, the prices are opaque and farmers are often cheated. Farmers rarely receive customized guidance for their crops. Easy Fresh uses technology to provide precision advice to farmers and then sells their harvest in multiple markets across Pakistan and the Middle East. With us, farmers are able to increase their yields and then pay zero commissions. Last year, we sold over $3 million worth of fresh produce in Pakistan and the Middle East. Thanks for having me here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So folks, I hope you have now a general idea as to what the three founders here are working on. One pattern you may have seen is that all three founders do deal with, to some degree, small and medium-sized enterprises. So today's discussion is exactly that, which, as you guys have seen in the market, companies that have been addressing SMEs in the region have been getting quite a bit of attention, whether it be for dealing with the kiryana stores, or whether it be with BNPL, all these big things. So we'd love to tackle some of those topics here and there. So first and foremost, we have the honor of not only seeing three different industries, but also entrepreneurs that are addressing challenges and opportunities in three different markets, right? We have Lahore, Karachi, as well as Islamabad represented here today. So that being said, this means there's a lot of discovery that was probably made across all your journeys. So we'd love to maybe invite Jarrar first to tell us a bit more about how your journey in discovering your target customer was and what kind of, hills did you have to climb to get to where you are today with dealing with kiryana stores?
Yeah, so basically, we started off as a B2C platform, actually. We were, very much like a traditional online grocer. Anyone could come, open up their account, browse the products, add to the basket, check out, and then we deliver the same day. And we did that.
Small business owners and CEOs and founders, and they started approaching us. Initially, we did not really paid a lot of heed to that. We thought, this is just a fad. This is just going to go away. And we were also of the opinion that the sales cycle would be too long to sign up a customer. We were also thinking that, this, given the ticket size of the business, we would have to have a large sales team in place to really scale up. And so all those negative things were going in our head, but the demand kept coming in. So we did an experiment, and that experiment resulted us signing up 5 customers in like 2 months. And we had a very good unit economics, and the demand was just going up. So eventually we decided, and then we started digging in. We started to really find out why these businesses are so interested in getting employee benefits or health insurance for their employees. And we realized that, there is a massive gap in this, in the insurance space, where insurance companies have majorly focused on large enterprises and MNCs. They have never focused on SMEs or MSMEs, which actually runs into millions, and they are actually, responsible for about 50% of the economy. So why is this space, not being tapped? And obviously they had their own reasons, because their acquisition cost was not making sense. For us, it being a digital platform and being so accessible and being everywhere, that just made us so attractive to the customer. And lastly, I think what we also learned, that these businesses are really looking for advice, more than just health insurance or life insurance or other benefits. These business owners maybe are just starting up. They don't know how to set up employee benefits. They don't know what works. They don't know what other companies are offering. So that journey from B2C to B2B has been a huge learning curve. And yeah, this is how we went about. And now we've signed up about 400 businesses. About 25,000 lives are insured through us. and their benefits are being managed by us. And it's only been about 14 months since we launched this. So yeah, an amazing journey.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you so much for the context there. And Mustafa, I do want to give you a chance to chime in as well. You specifically work with the agricultural sector, which I know you're for your company's name is Easy Fresh, but there's nothing easy about it now, as you know. It's a very interesting space to be in. So I wanted to kind of know also your journey into understanding, all right, who's my target customer, how to work with these basically business owners to their own lights and empower them accordingly. Mm.
Yeah, thank you, Roy. So yeah, it's been a journey for us as well. We started off, we've always been B2B, but we started off with a very particular segment of customers, and those were retailers, smaller retailers that we were serving directly, delivering directly to them. And within that segment, we were serving, when we started initially, we were serving the more established retailers, people who have a shop. So guys, we serve fruit and vegetable sellers, and within that category, there are quite a few variations. We started off with the most structured retailers, and very soon we learned that the actual demand, particularly in Karachi, the biggest city in Pakistan, the demand was driven by what we would call in local language telewalas or push retail people who sell on push carts primarily. And it was a huge demand over there. And we very soon shifted focus to those telewalas and started selling to them, delivering to them. For them, it was a very unique service, getting fresh produce at your doorstep or tela step every morning. It was a business model when we realized that the last mile deliveries were just going to eat up a lot of cost for, and it was a convenience that most retailers were not willing to pay for. So we rationalized and we shifted focus towards larger retailers. We then started serving what you would call key accounts, larger grocery chains, larger grocery stores. The margins are a little better, and the business is a lot more stable. That was the need of the hour for us. We just wanted that when our last mile deliveries, the cost of the last mile delivery is more justified, and we're able to get that from the customer. So we shifted focus towards those guys. Along the journey, we learned they're wholesalers in marketplaces that actually really could use our help, and we started serving them as well. And then the environment in the country in the recent times, we've noticed there's a lot of effort by the government to promote exports, and agriculture is one of those sectors that's kind of evergreen in that aspect. So we started very tentatively, very cautiously. In the last 6 to 8 months, we started exports, and then we just realized we had a good expertise in this area, and we started providing export as a service to customers, not just exporting on our own behalf to multiple countries, but also other folks. You could call them people who had deeper pockets, who wanted to benefit from this trade with other countries, started approaching us if we could run their entire export business in agriculture for them. We started doing that. So we've experienced quite a few different channels and different types of customers. And I think very similar to what Siptan and Jarrar were saying, it's how the times are, and you roll with the times. That's what we've been up to.
Gotcha. Thank you so much, man. Okay. So actually, Mustafa, you did highlight some differences that you identified between larger retailers versus smaller retailers, right? As part of your discovery process to who your target customer is. And so you've leaned towards more of the larger retailers because it makes more sense unit economically. That being said, I do want to give Jarrar the platform here as well, because through Jarrar's process, I understand that 24/7, you guys also deal with all sets of the retailers as well. I wanted to know if you had similar challenges in that price discovery and how you guys have been dealing with that as well, given the retailer at different stages of I guess the funnel, and also just in different sizes as well. Does that apply to your business at all, or is that do they opt for
Yeah.
a different set of challenges?
No, so yeah, I mean, for us, it's slightly different. I think it's more of a mindset issue. People who are open to technology versus people who aren't. So for us, that's been the defining criteria. And in that, I mean, obviously, the shops that we deal with are usually, so the Pakistani kiryana would be a 200 square foot shop on average, having around 500 to maybe 1,000 SKUs, staples, consumer staples, breakfast items, cigarettes, beverages, cooking oils, rice, spices, all kinds of like anything you need at an urgent basis. You can just walk down the street, and these shops are literally like 5 minutes away for people. So these are the kind of shops, and within them, obviously, it's been the discovery for us has been in identifying people with the right mindset, the growth mindset, what we call, and those are usually shop owners or operators who are younger. So, I mean, it might sound like ageism, but it's I can safely say that owners under 50 are more amenable to what we offer versus owners who are above 50. This is not to say that above 50 people we're not working with them. We are, but they're just fewer. So that's how we've seen the profile so far. Then we're in 6 cities, so every city has its own obviously characteristic. The bigger cities are fairly similar in terms of Lahore, and we're in Faisalabad and Multan. These are 3 of the largest cities in Punjab. So it's the profile has been similar, but then we're also in slightly smaller cities, like tier 2, tier 3 towns. So over there, the shop owners are slightly different, but they are more. The good thing for us has been in the smaller towns that they've been more open to availing our service and partnering with us, and they have seen a very quick impact in their top line, in their bottom line. So that is something very, very interesting for us, because most of Pakistan lives in tier 2 and tier 3 cities.
Nice. Okay, that's good insight. You mentioned one key driver is those that are open to technology versus those that were not. And so Zipton, actually, I want to kick it off to you here, because from your platform, you are a tech company, but there's also a lot of B2B sales involved in your business. So do you feel like that the same challenges that Jarrar highlighted also apply to you, or do you have other bottlenecks in the B2B sales in Pakistan?
I think in our case, it's the challenge. One of the challenges we face is more about awareness, because insurance and employee benefits is something that certain companies are. If a founder is coming from who has already worked in the industry and starting his own business, he has a certain I would say notion that he should offer these kind of benefits. So he would be very understanding and would actually be the one demanding that these are the requirements that they have, and they would have a certain budget in place. But in certain SMEs, you would find these challenges where they may not have a budget. They're just exploring. They're just trying to understand what kind of coverage they can get, what kind of benefits they can offer. They're also not sure whether this will really impact their employee productivity, whether this will impact their employee retention. So we have to do a lot of awareness-based sales, or I would say consultancy and advisory to our customers. So that is one thing that we've learned, that we have to have a playbook in place which really allows and enables our sales team to educate the customer. And obviously, once they sign up on that, the second challenge is retention of that customer as well. It's not just signing them up the first time. It's also the retention of that customer. So our tech really makes this journey pretty simple for the businesses to understand the value that they can get. And if you go to the enterprise customers, their challenge is very different. They're looking at more about cost saving, more about what they can get more in terms of the same amount of money that they're spending. So yeah, it's a variation of characteristic that we've seen. Mostly our customers are in KLI, though we do see customers from other tier 2 cities as well, but there are not a lot of there are more MSMEs there, I would say, in other tier 2 tier 3 cities. So that's not primarily our target market, but yeah, that's what we've learned.
One keyword I heard there was KLI. Does that mean Karachi, Lahore, Islamabad?
Correct.
Big three.
Correct.
Nice.
The big three.
Okay. Hey, so Mustafa, I think I was taking some notes here. Jarrar did mention earlier about the appetite for tech versus not, and how to a certain degree age sort of plays into it, which really leads to one of the challenges being educating the customer. And Septain also had some insights also about the bottleneck of potentially educating the consumer. Did you have to deal with that as well with your target demographic?
Yeah, of course. I think, I think both technology and overall education they were challenging. But in our sector, I think the bigger challenge was an extension of credit. Our sector, our customers, retailers particularly, were just so used to having being offered credit from the kind of players that they were working with already, and we just shied away from that. We just put our foot down. We said, no, the credit is not one thing that we're going to extend in this market, especially with our inability to collect it later on. And so we made a very conscious decision to work with customers who were okay with working on cash with us. And I think that was actually even though stubborn initially, a very stubborn idea and a very stubborn way to execute on a startup, but I think that really was a saving grace for us. We didn't lose money, so I just feel that overall the biggest challenge that we faced with our customers initially, still do, is an extension of credit to them.
Interesting you bring up credit. That's been a very hot topic, especially when dealing with small business owners across the globe, actually, especially with our portfolio, as well as we do invest in a lot of players that do B2B e-commerce and things of that nature. So quite interesting. So despite challenges in credit, Mustafa, I do want to understand from your side, like, what are the key things that excite you about your current sector? So there's obviously gaps in credit and also educating the customer, et cetera. But obviously, there's a lot of fresh greenery to be addressed in the future. So what are your thoughts on what kind of opportunities lie in your realm of the SMEs?
So the food sector, and particularly the sector that we deal in, which is fresh produce, is really evergreen. There's demand for it, an insatiable demand for it across the country, and actually in every single house across the world. So that really excites us. The demand is really almost unlimited. It's the supply side that can become challenging at times, but demand's over there. So the very first thing is, in our sector, it's overall the demand. But also there's the second thing that really excites us is that there are very few structured players in this sector serving, whether they're wholesalers or key accounts, or larger accounts, or even carrying out exports or serving retailers. There are very, very few structured players. And us as one of the very few ones over there, can cater to and can attract a clientele that was previously completely ignored. So it gives us a green field out there, at least at this stage. Maybe later on, when other people come in, other folks come in and see the opportunity in this sector to operate a lot differently from the traditional ways that it is being operated in, then it becomes difficult. But for now, we're having a good ride.
Awesome. Okay. And Jarrar, remind me. So currently, how many uh, kiryana stores do you have in your platform?
Over 4,500.
So you have 4,500. Okay. And you mentioned there's a million plus of them all over
Yeah.
Pakistan. Huh? There's still
Yeah.
plenty to grab.
No one knows.
So
No one knows the number,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's definitely over a million.
Probably a million plus. Yeah. So what what excites you about that area? Because that seems like you have plenty of market share to grab. So
Yeah.
what are you looking forward to next year or so in your growth journey?
So it's it literally is like the first chapter. It's so exciting, the kind of relationships that we're developing, the partnerships we're developing, the trust that these guys have in their respective communities. I mean, it's like, they live there, they've grown up there, they know the people. A lot of these people have been extending credit to the neighborhood as well. So before buy now, pay later became this big thing globally, Karyanas in the subcontinent have been doing buy now, pay later for decades, uh, totally informally and all of that. But what's exciting us is that by doing this partnership and by digitizing these points in the community, it's not just about distribution of groceries, for instance. So we can be distributing, for our two co-panelists here. I mean, I would love to, and we've had this conversation, but I think it's now high time, Saptan and I took this to the next level. But where we can, like get insurance products into the community, we are that last mile, and for most of we have a very big interest in produce. That is something that was underpinning our mission. That's where my journey started from, actually, the farm. And it's always been to cut out the intermediaries, create an alternate distribution channel, which could help farmers, which could help consumers. And again, we are creating that distribution where we could be getting supplies from Mustafa, which Mustafa is getting from the farms, and onto the community. And then there's just these financial services where the financial inclusion aspect comes in, where using our fintech products that we've developed, we're able to credit score households, we're able to credit score these MSMEs, and get them access to lending. So it's very, very exciting. That's what is really keeping us exciting. There's so much that's coming up. There's a lot of possibilities for what we can do with that data, with the products and services we can offer. So that's something that we feel we haven't even scratched the surface yet.
Gotcha. Yeah. So Jarrar, you talked about products and services. Sibtain, we've been talking a lot about products and services as well with smart benefits. You actually earlier said there's actually millions of potential customers for your side, as obviously you deal with cross-sector SMEs. So tell us, what are your ambitions and what do you think is going to be the future for servicing these SMEs that you already have?
Well, I think there are two things that I'm excited about. One is the market opportunity. It's massive, and if you look at the number of companies that are started in the last 24 months, there are about 40,000 new companies that were started in Pakistan, and this number is just being adding up every month as we go along. And obviously these companies are going to hire people, right, for offering services, building products, infrastructure, manufacturing, or exporting services, right? There is a massive, in terms of the industry size, IT industry is growing very fast. In terms of exports, it's $3 billion. Now, what they need is great resources. What they need is great talent to hire, right? And these great talent have this opportunity to work remotely as well for international companies. Why would they work for a local company, right? Apart from building a great office or a great space, you need to attract them with other than salary, and that's where benefits comes into place, right? And employee benefits. So I'm really excited that we are at the center of this whole dynamic shift that is happening in this industry. And I'm not just excited about that we are offering health insurance, we're making it easier. No, that's not it. That's just the beginning, right? There are retirement benefits, there are wellness, well-being of employees. There is so many services that we can add on top of what we are doing today. So I'm just excited about the opportunity, and secondly, being at the center of this whole opportunity and helping these businesses attract great talent, to retain them, and not look at opportunities outside Pakistan, like from sitting here. Or there is a lot of brain drain happening as well. A lot of people are moving abroad because of the current economic situation. So just helping out these businesses is what really keeps me going every day.
Nice. Okay, thank you so much for that, Satan. Speaking of keeping you going, all right. So for all of us, sometimes it's coffee, sometimes it's tea. For your companies, obviously, investor dollars do matter. Investors' rupees matter. And so obviously, as any sort of startup that's looking to grow, you have an interesting discussion about your business model. And your business model is clearly one of the things that's embedded in it is obviously the working with small business owners and things of that nature. So I wanted to ask you guys, maybe I guess we can start with maybe Mustafa, from your experience so far, how much of that aspect of your business has been a key discussion with investors? And if it's not, it's okay. Just wanted to know if that's been an area where investors have been more excited about with regards to your business or not.
So let me understand that question a little bit better. So, Hiroy, are you wondering if investors feel that we're able to provide some sort of financial service to our retailers and customers? And that
Oh,
excites
no. Well, what I was
Sorry.
saying is I was using it as a segment to say, obviously funding is one of the juices that keeps your companies going to a certain degree. So that means you have a lot of discussions with investors. And
Yeah.
with conversations with investors, obviously your business model comes into play. And obviously, as part of your business model, working with small SMEs is part of it. I wonder if that's an exciting factor to investors when you speak to them, or if is it other parts from your experience?
Great question, actually. So it is a huge, it's a great advantage to be serving small retailers in Pakistan, because investors have already seen how, well, they already are aware of just the sheer number of small retailers, small businesses operating in the country. Exactly like Sitan said, they're growing insanely by the day. But even in the informal sector that Jarrar and I probably serve, there are just millions of small retailers that require services, and that's where we come in. And this model and this overall business model, but this overall demand by these smaller retailers and smaller businesses is evident in a lot of developing countries. Like Jarrar earlier said, that every little corner in the country has a small shop serving a local community, a local neighborhood. So it does definitely, Hiroy, excite potential investors by the sheer number, the sheer volume of the market that we're able to serve, for sure.
Got you. Okay. And Mustafa did give a Jarrar a shout as well. And so Jarrar, your business model is quite interesting that you're focusing, well, the focus is always interesting. You work with B2B in order to get the C. So then in your long conversation you've had with many investors, which part is it that's quite exciting for them? Is it the B2B part, or is it the potential B2C? Where has the conversation been?
I think the business model is overall, I mean, the feedback we've gotten is very, very positive. Because of the nature of the model, the unit economics are much better, and it's also distinct. So there have been B2B players. Obviously, there are B2B players in Pakistan, in the region, in the kiryana space. But our model is, distinct because of this focus on going deeper with. So instead of going broader and shallower, we're a bit narrow but deeper, and then going to the end customer. So that helps us, and we've gotten very positive feedback. But overall, I think right now, the micro aspect of the business, obviously it matters, but right now the macros are challenging. Globally, the macros are challenging. The overall VCs, they're a bit risk off, and their LPs are risk off, and it's cascading. And then when it comes to prioritization, then the frontier markets or markets like Pakistan kind of go down the pecking order. So the excitement for the Pakistani market, I can see that's a challenge right now. And then Pakistan's own macro situation is not very helpful either. I mean, if the global macro is a problem, Pakistan's macro on top of it just makes the problem a bit much more larger and complex. So that is what we're feeling and seeing. But we're also, I would say that it's starting to improve a little bit. Like 6 months ago, maybe November, October, it was really bad. Everyone was like, they'd closed off shop. It was like a deep freeze. But now the conversations are happening, and people are taking a deeper dive. So we don't have an issue from our model micro perspective, but there is still the macro challenges there.
Got you. And Siptain, what about you? So you had the B2C journey, now you're going through the B2B journey. How has that shifted your conversation with prospective investors?
Well, obviously insurance is a segment in Pakistan which is heavily underpenetrated, right? So always the conversation when we are doing B2C is that how will you penetrate this market? How will you, acquire customers? And there are similar, startups in India as well who've actually, been able to scale, but the unit economics are really bad. So obviously the learnings from them, and we look at Pakistan, it was always a question mark. So with this B2B segment, this smart benefits, it enables us to actually build that initial trust with the business and their employees. Because every time an employee gets a claim processed and approved, that gives them that credibility that insurance works. And this is sponsored by their employer, so someone else is paying it and they're getting the benefit of it. So that conversation has really allowed us that we can, we add on to, and we can go directly to these employees as well through their employer, and add more products. So this whole business model which we transformed into has really opened doors and allowed us to make our business model much more stronger and have those great conversation with investors of the longevity of the business and the sustainability of the business as well, which is now being a question that investors now are really asking, and we are now at the have the answer for that, and our business is able to capture those segments as we go along.
Awesome. Thank you, Siptain. And so with that concludes my questions for you guys. Thank you so much for giving us all this insight. Through your speech last, I guess, about 45 minutes or so, Ali had a chance to post some of the questions folks have been having from the Zoom. I took a look at some of them, and I think in the interest of time, I do want to maybe catch the hot ones. So right now, we just touched on fundraising, and because of where Pakistan is macroeconomically, as well as the VC industry as well, from your journey, your battle-tested journey, your multiple startup experience, what are your thoughts? What are some advice you can give to fellow entrepreneurs in their journey to raise while kicking off their business in Pakistan? And I guess maybe with the first person I see is Mustafa here. So maybe Mustafa, if you have any notes, and we can go around the circle.
Yeah, of course. So how we're trying to deal with this, guys, is actually just continue to build our business in a much more robust way. We understand that if the funding is drying up and just we don't know when that environment is going to clear up and how, but that doesn't mean that we stop building a business. So what we've been focused on for the last many months, actually, and it's paying off now, is to build a fully sustainable, fully profitable business, get your unit economics right, get your overall business fundamentals right, and just identify those opportunities where you can make where you can continue to grow, show the revenue growth, but also all of it is very sustainable. That's been our strategy. We're very firm believers in this environment clearing up one day. And when that day is, we really don't know. But we're very firm believers that this will clear up, that we'll be back to the days when there's a lot of capital available for growth. And when it is, we want to be there to capitalize on it. Right now, hunker down, no regrets about not having funding from a lot of funding inflowing into the country. Let's just continue to be.
I see. So heads on and build. Okay. What about you, Jarrar? What's been your take so far? I know you had a great year last year. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally echo and second what Mustafa said. The business model matters now. The unit economics matter now, which is great. So it's quality over quantity. And in terms of segments, maybe people should start looking at, so maybe it would be challenging to go after the big, like the consumer markets. Those were the startups that raised a lot of money in the last 2-3 years. So I think that will be challenging now for startups to come into that space unless it's really innovative and very, very capital efficient. So maybe it could be focused on, people could be focusing on more like software as, SaaS-based products, anything with AI, machine learning, even services. So these are the areas that, I feel could be a good area to look at, because the profitability is just much higher in obviously those sectors. So the business model matters now. You can't just say 230 million people and this worked in Indonesia and India and we're doing the same thing in Pakistan and you'll raise money and keep on raising money. That's not going to happen anymore. So the proof of concept will matter more. And so you just have to think harder about what you want to do, and then have your own little runway with your friends and family and whatever, and get that proof of concept done to a certain stage where then you can get funding from the likes of you guys and other early stage VCs. So that's the general advice I would say, and I think this is a good thing for the ecosystem overall. It's the focus needed to come back to profitability and unit economics.
Indeed. The pressure is there to basically become a very unit economically stable company earlier in your fundraising journey than maybe previously required. Which I think a lot of emerging markets do definitely deal with that as well. Siptain, do you have anything else to add to what Jarrar and Mustafa said?
Not much. I think Mustafa and Jarrar has covered all the points.
They covered it.
Really sustainable business. Yeah. Find customers who pay you, and just keep at it, and ask for referrals from existing customers. Just not give up on it. Don't try to build a huge team or a big team. Just start with small and stick to that. Find the right people on the team who are committed to building a business with you, and just go at it. Don't worry about funding. You'll raise it when the time is right.
Nice. You touched on a very interesting point. So a couple of questions in the chat were actually about building teams. So key question is, obviously startups, in addition to solving a big problem, almost equally important in the early days is your team. So as such, maybe I want to, give you some take, because you mentioned team a couple of times in your answers. What has been some of the challenges, but also great opportunities you found in identifying talent for your team to grow and tackle the problem you're solving?
Well, I think it's a bit of luck to find good people, to be honest with you. To start with, I think luck is important, that you find right people to work with you. But I think what you really need to do is to keep them engaged on your journey. not just cite them out that this is your job, this is what you're doing, and as a founder, I'm doing this something else. I think you have to take them on the journey with you, be open and share the highs and the lows with them, and work with them. Don't work as a boss, as a leader, but you have to really, if you can see a potential in someone, then brush up those skills with them, take them through the process and of training, of skill development. And if you don't have the right people on the team, then let them go early on. Just don't drag them on, and it's not good for their career, not good for your business. You can't really afford it. And be flexible. I think you have to be flexible. The way, since we are in the employee benefits space, we talk to a lot of businesses, and what we've learned is that those businesses who really understand their employees well in terms of their personal goals, employees' personal goals, and then align it with the business and give them those space, they, your talent that you've hired, you'll be able to retain it, and you will be able to get referrals from those same talent that you've hired, because great talent knows another great talent, and that's how really the ball goes around. So yeah, I think that's the 2 cents.
Got you. So a little bit of luck. Once you use that luck to get someone good, use them to get more good people. That's one playbook that works. Okay. Jarrar, what about your playbook? What's been your playbook to build the stellar team that is the 24/7 team?
Yeah, I mean, initially, I think it's about luck. We were very, very lucky. We scaled so quickly when COVID happened, and we had to do it overnight. And there was no time, and there was no in-person meetings that one could do. So we were just lucky that, whatever we did worked out well. But yeah, I mean, some of the key pieces of the team, we were very fortunate. We were patient as well, but we were fortunate to get the right people with the right mindsets. I think Saptan's spot on. It's not about the job, it's about the journey. It's about the mission. It's about whatever we're doing. That's the underlying thing that people have to buy into. And those that do create that culture, and then they attract more people. So I second what Saptan is saying, and that's what exactly is the same thing. For us, it's, the mission, people who can take the initiative, who think big, and who think beyond themselves. Obviously, it's not an altruistic charity job. People are not coming here voluntarily, right? I mean, to do voluntary work or social work. So the compensation has to be very competitive and all of that. But the attitude is what we look for. And we've been very lucky to have people with the right attitude with us through this journey.
Gotcha. Okay. And Mustafa, what about you? What's been some of the challenges, but also opportunities you found through your team building process?
So I think Jarrar, Saptan, you've covered everything. I just touch upon engagement, employee engagement a bit more. While it is
huge
and insanely important to attract talent, but it's also equally important, and actually probably more important, to keep them very, very engaged. Keep them up to date, trained, make sure that they're enjoying the journey as well. As Jarrar said, we as founders tend to be okay with a lot of hardships, but I don't think a lot of employees are willing to take as much pain, and it's not their job either. So I think it's very important to keep them a lot more engaged if you want to build for the longer term.
Alrighty, sounds good. Now we do have about 5 minutes left, and there's some questions that are directly targeted to our panelists here. So I'll try to shoot them out as they come. One of the questions was actually directed towards Saptan from Smart Benefits. So macros obviously have huge effects over the country, et cetera, et cetera. In your situation, how have you seen SMEs maybe adjust or respond to their consumption to products such as yours?
Well, we've got a mix, things going on. Actually, we are trying to figure out, because until December, things were really, going great for us. In January, we saw a dip. So, and what we are seeing is that the companies who have export-oriented businesses, who are earning in dollars, and they are obviously, since the currency devaluation is happening, they are seeing more money coming in. So they are actually doubling down on employee benefits and the kind of service that we offer. So those kind of segments are really good for us when it comes to local service providers. What we are seeing is that they're not completely, they're not saying, oh, let's not renew our, health coverage for our employees or other coverages. What they are doing is that they are actually cutting down on their budget. So we are seeing about 20-30% budgets being cut down on the employee benefits side. So they're not completely putting it off. What we've done is, during our journey, is we've educated customers on building a budget for these things as well, because most of our customers initially were setting this up for the first time, setting employee benefits for the first time. So at that time, they didn't know how much they would have to spend, right? They really didn't know what it costs per employee to spend. With the passage of time, we've actually, explained them that, they should build a budget for that at the beginning of the year. So this cost doesn't come as a surprise to them. And that kind of awareness, or, continuous client education really helped us retain our clients. So yes, there are certain segments like manufacturing businesses, textile, they've been really hit hard. So they are not the, companies that you would go after right now at this point in time, because they are not really, they're actually cutting down their employees and actually downsizing. So yeah, you have to pick your segments carefully in this current environment.
Got you. Okay. And for Jarrar, one question that was posed in the group chat was about lending. So clearly, lending is a part of your business. I believe you've launched. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we've launched. It's something that we've done, but we've capped it because that's not our core business. What we're now doing is we're partnering with people who do lend, like, Finja or fintech players or even banks. So we're kind of their last mile facilitator, and we kind of mitigate the risk for them because we provide this closed loop in a way where the loan or the working capital comes into the digital wallet on our platform, and then the partner of ours can use that to buy goods and services from us. So it's a closed loop like that, and it's not like the money can go somewhere else, and then we obviously are part of the collection and keeping it rotational. So it's worked out well. So this is something that now we're partnering with others. So we have a very small book, but it was just to set it up and to get our credit scoring product going, and but we don't intend on using our own book to lend because that's not our core competency or expertise, or we frankly don't have the capital either for that.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you so much for that. And I think we're almost out of time, but I do want to squeeze one last one, and this is for Mustafa. You did share earlier in the webinar that you are looking at and actively exploring going cross-border. So tell us about that idea and how, with the market so big like Pakistan, what makes also going to another market potentially attractive for your line of work?
Yeah, we're definitely doing that. We're expanding to Middle East and also exploring Southeast Asia, primarily Malaysia. The reason we're doing this is because of the current environment we're in, where exports are actually quite lucrative. Exports are favored in the way the macroeconomics are in the country at the moment. We've also learned that expanding into these markets, if done sensibly, doesn't require too much capital and not too many resources. So we want to stick with that. And so we're very actively exploring this expansion into these markets. I hope that addresses it. But it's very, very pertinent to our business, and it may not be the same for other businesses.
No, of course, yeah. But at least your decision process could potentially be at least allow others to maybe think about their business either in a similar way, or maybe realize, okay, those may not be the reasons for me either.
Yeah.
Now, we are maybe a minute over. I do want to thank Septan, Jarrar, Mustafa for your time. We'd like to thank Ali and the team at Paklaunch.com for setting up this webinar. Really appreciate it. There are plenty of questions that were not answered yet, and that's okay. I will drop my email into the chat for everyone to potentially reach out to me should you have any questions regarding Orbit startups and how we evaluate opportunities, as well as what we're looking to do, not only in Pakistan, but also the rest of the world. For everyone else, this webinar will be available online post today. So if you have questions and things of that nature, you can always direct them towards Septain, Jarrar, Mustafa, all available on LinkedIn and also other channels as well. So again, thank you guys so much for the time. Really appreciate it. And you know, Ramadan Kareem to all the folks that celebrate. Have a wonderful evening, my fellow panelists, and everyone else. Those that are tuning in from the West Coast of the US, good morning. Have a lovely day. Those that are still in the middle of their day, awesome. Happy Sunday. All right. Thank you all so much. Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Mhm.
Be good.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.